40,000 Queenslanders are backing a call for laws to allow them to kill home intruders without legal consequences. Now, to be clear, the state's Attorney-General says the government has no plans to review the Criminal Code's rules around self-defence. But the popularity of the so-called castle law petition highlights the simmering crime concerns in the lead-up to a state election. Rebecca Fogarty is the president of the Queensland Law Society and joins us now. Rebecca, as we outlined a moment ago, there are no plans to put this law into place, but 40,000 Queenslanders agree with castle law. Does that concern you?
It's deeply concerning. The proposed laws are a private member's bill, which means it's not government policy. They're quite extreme in the way that they've been drafted and have some terrifying consequences. So the fact that there's such support for them in the community suggests there may well be some misunderstanding about the way our current laws are working.
What are the current laws when it comes to self-defence on your own property?
Yeah, so a person is entitled to defend themselves when they're under threat. The law allows the use of reasonable force if you are defending yourself, or if you fear that somebody else will come to harm, or if you fear damage to your property. They're good laws, they're old laws, and they've worked very well to date.
So you're saying they're adequate. Is there any data to suggest that they're too lenient?
Not at all. That's a difficult question to answer, but certainly the laws work very well. Queensland is youth crime and crime are big issues in Queensland at the moment, and part of that is this idea of an increase in home invasions. What we do know is that with all of the very high-profile matters, those people are in custody.
And Rebecca, how do you prove self-defence?
It's a question for the jury, so and that's appropriate. So it depends on the facts, because what is self-defence in one situation may not be appropriate in another. A person is entitled to use reasonable force, and a jury assesses whether that force is reasonable and proportionate. So that idea of proportionality is really important. You could have a situation where, for instance, a teenager comes out and touches your car on your property. They don't have a weapon. You may well be entitled to push them away or yell at them, but you probably wouldn't be proportionate to get out a gun and shoot them in that situation.
This petition means something though, doesn't it? It reflects the fear on the part of the public. Is there a perception that the law is lenient or inadequate?
I think there's certainly that perception in parts of Queensland. Queensland is a deeply geographically vast state, and some areas have higher rates of concern about youth crime and home invasions than others. But I suspect there's also a lot of misunderstanding about the way that the laws actually do work. There's very strong data that tells us that people, when they actually have all of the information about a particular proceeding in court, wouldn't have sentenced the person to a higher sentence than the actual judge. So I think there's something missing in our discourse. It's a complicated issue, and a lot of the way that it's discussed at the moment doesn't really reflect the nuance that's necessary.
And Rebecca, laws like the one being put forward, no matter how unlikely, when they have been enforced, do they actually create more danger for the victims as well?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt, the data is very strong, that people who use force to defend themselves are more likely to be injured or killed themselves. On that, the Queensland Police website has some excellent resources for homeowners and home occupiers about the best ways that they can, things they can do to best protect their home.
Rebecca Fogarty, President of the Queensland Law Society, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.